Hi, I'm Matt Jackson, working with Gym Club Solutions. Today we're going to be looking at a video tutorial to teach swings to handstand. Starting from videos that have been filmed before, this video is going to be leading on to the actual preparations of how to swing to handstand. Videos have previously been filmed of how to swing on P-bars to horizontal. So once we're looking at this video, this will be a lead on from that previous video. So we're going to look at the stages of how to get to handstand and how to move down from handstand safely, achieving a good safe swing to handstand. Okay, so before we actually look at the whole swing to handstand, first thing we need to be able to achieve is actually holding a stable handstand. So before the gymnasts even get onto the P-bars and get to the stage where we want them to go to handstand, we need to check that the gymnast can hold a good shape where they're looking, what their body's doing within that handstand. So we're going to start on the floor with a set of parallettes so it feels the same as the P-bars, and just look at the gymnast shape. When we're doing this, I'm going to look at the gymnast head position, their chest position, and their body shape. So gymnast is going to kick to handstand. So we're going to look at, once the gymnast is in handstand, what we want to see is a nice line through their body. So we should have a good head position, neutral, so their eyes should be able to see through the P-bars to the floor. What we don't want to see is the gymnast tucking their head through, which will cause them to fall through the bars, making it unstable. So we want their gymnast head position to be neutral with their eyes looking through. We want their ribs to be in, so their chest is in, and their lower back to be nice and tight. So there should be no loss of form throughout the gymnast handstand. Nice. Okay, so moving on, we're going to look at what the gymnast has to do when they get to handstand and how to control that. One of the things we like to do when we're using P-bar preparation, to use the parallettes on the floor. When we're on the parallettes, we have to control the handstand differently, using our wrist control and not our fingers like we would do on the floor. So we're going to get the gymnast to kick to handstand. I'm going to apply a small amount of pressure to the gymnast so the gymnast can try and fight against that. When they do this initially, they may fall through handstand and land on a soft safety mat. What we're trying to achieve is get the gymnast to understand how to control through their wrists whilst holding that good shape to give them a good stable handstand. So once the gymnast goes to handstand, once they are in handstand, what we're going to do is just apply a small amount of pressure to the gymnast, so they have to try and fight against that with their wrists. This is normal that they'll do this at this first stages and fall onto the soft safety mat. Once we've got the gymnast to understand how to fall out of handstand and try and apply pressure, what we'll see is when the gymnasts are getting more of an understanding, we'll try and apply the pressure and we'll see the gymnast fighting against it with their wrist to see if they can control their handstand. So we'll try now with the gymnast, see if you can see what they're doing with their wrists. So once the gymnast is in handstand again, we're going to try and apply a small amount of pressure, and the gymnast is constantly working against me with his wrist to try and control that handstand position. Very good. When the gymnasts are at this stage, you could also use a side station with very small dumbbells to do wrist control. So moving and tilting the wrist up and down to strengthen in this area where we want to be strong when adjusting the wrist and trying to control the handstand. So you can use this to build into your program as a side station whilst doing this preparation as well. Another really important stage is to look at the gymnast's lower back and their stability and their core control. So when they're in handstand, once they've learned adjusting and control through their wrists, we also want to make sure their lower back is locked into a good tight shape. So we're going to use an exercise to apply a small amount of pressure against the gymnast's legs and lower back to try and break their body form and shape, and they have to work against that to make sure they're in a nice tight line. So gymnasts will go into handstand, and we're going to look at the gymnast shape again. So we're going to hold the lower back and apply the other hand to the top of the legs to try and break the gymnast's body shape. So we're doing this with minimal amount of pressure, but the gymnast having to work really hard to lock into that tight handstand shape so we can't fall through that position. Arch, hold the shape, hold the shape, hold the shape, and then bring your ribs in, back to that nice shape. Okay, the next thing we're going to look at is the shape that the gymnast should be swinging through when they're coming through horizontal towards handstand. So the gymnast should have their eyes forwards, their lower back should be in a tight arch, so their heels are leading the swing towards handstand. At the top of the swing, we should see a shape change. So the gymnast's ribs should come in, their chest should come in, and they should snap into more of a straight line like the handstand we showed before. So we're going to do this slowly first to get the gymnast to understand the changes of shapes to help them achieve a stable handstand at the top of the swing. So the gymnast will start in a front support position. Hips will be dropped low, so they're in a nice tight arch. Head position will be neutral, so their eyes will be looking forward. This is really important when they're swinging, so their head doesn't drop down, they don't fling over the top through their swing. So the heels will be leading the swing, so as they've come through this horizontal position, their head's neutral, their heels will be leading the swing, and as they arrive in handstand, their chest will come in, their shape will change, and we'll arrive in that nice, tight, solid handstand position we was looking at before. So moving on, we're now going to introduce a bit of a heel flick with the gymnast. So we're going to introduce a bit of speed, simulating the feeling that they would do when they're swinging towards handstand. So I'm going to throw the gymnast's heels up. They're going to try and hit handstand, see if they can. If they don't, they might pass through handstand, again onto the soft safety mat. What we want the gymnast to understand is, if they do pass through handstand, to stay in a nice straight line so they can fall safely between the bars and have a nice safe landing, and not contact the bars if they separate their legs and hit the wooden rails. So we're going to start in the same position. Hips will be dropped so the heels are leading, nice neutral head position, and we're going to have a bit of speed into this one now. So we're going to go from support through handstand, and we can see the gymnast has gone through the bars safely onto the soft mat and didn't quite make the shape change yet. Okay, so we can see from the previous prep, the gymnast went to handstand, couldn't quite stabilize, and went through onto the mat. This time we're going to see if the gymnast can make the shape change with their chest and actually block in and hold a handstand with the throw, so we're feeling the same sort of speed as we would do in a swing to handstand. So the same starting position, always the same, heels leading with a good neutral head position. We're going to have a bit of speed and see if the gymnast can change the shape. Perfect, and then drop. Okay, once the gymnast has achieved this, we're then going to build up the numbers so the gymnast can get stronger with their wrists, do multiple repetitions of understanding how to stop and control the handstand. So we'll see if the gymnast can do 2 or 3 of these in a row now. Okay, another important thing to understand is when the gymnast can go to handstand, we need to be able to swing down safely from that position. So we're going to use the parallettes and the mat again. We're going to look at what the gymnast's doing with their head, their shoulders and their hips. All 3 of these things will be massively important to make a safe swing in the right positions. So gymnasts are going to go to handstand on the parallettes. Again, in that nice, good, solid handstand position. What we want the gymnast to do first is adjust their head position. So they're going to look forwards with their eyes, so lift their chin up, hips will start to drop, shoulders will come slightly in front of the hands. So when we land, shoulders should be on top of the hands, so we've got a nice, stable support position. Their vision should be forwards, definitely not dropping the head down. So the head should be neutral, like this. Hips should be down, and we should also have tension through the knees. So we should see a nice tight arch like the halfway swing position you've seen in videos before. So the knees should have tension, heels should be together, and a nice neutral head position. So chin up, hips down. That's it. So head position, shoulder position, hip position, and then knees and heels. Okay, within your gym setups, everyone has different equipment within their gym. So today we're going to use a physio ball, a Yuchenko collar, a set of parallettes to simulate an exercise. So the gymnast's going to bounce off the physio ball and try and block into handstand, so they can try and feel the exercise on their own, move into handstand and controlling it. You may have a rebound system in your gym which works really well as well that you could use. Just use things in your gym that you can simulate preps. If you don't have this, it doesn't matter. It's just another nice side station that the gymnast can use on their own. so we're now moving on to the actual parallel bars to actually support the swing to handstand. Gymnasts should now understand all of the right shapes, all of the right preparations, how to control the handstand and the right shapes. So we're going to swing through the horizontal position and go to handstand now. Watch the gymnast heels lead the swing and then watch the shape change at the top of the swing, making the handstand position nice and stable. I'll show where I'm supporting the gymnast as well, so you can take that away and use that in your gyms. So the gymnast's going to have their eyes vision forwards, hips are going to be open, and the heels are going to lead the swing to handstand. Make sure when you're supporting, you have a good stable support around the gymnast's shoulder and around their leg. So as they drop, their chin will lift, support, and shape. 1, 2. So one more, chin. Good. Okay, once the gymnast has achieved the swing to handstand with support, the next thing we need to do as a coach is gently step back, so we start to shadow the gymnast. So we're following the gymnast through the swing, making sure they're safe and that they can't fall. Once we've done that, we'll then let the gymnast try and achieve the swing on their own. Okay, with every skill that you teach, there'll be stages in between. So there'll be parts of the skill that might break down, the gymnast may be anxious about the skill. So what we can do in that stage is give the gymnast a light support. So maybe just hold the gymnast's arm to give them a bit of confidence to make sure that they're feeling safe when they're doing the skill. Once that's okay, we can then go to the shadowing stage and then let the gymnast try the skill on their own. Okay, so we're now moving on to the final stages. The gymnast is now going to try the swing to handstand on the end of the P-bars. We're going to have a soft safety mat in front. This is to teach the gymnast to be able to fall safely over the top if they do pass through the bars. Then we'll look and see if the gymnast can do the full swing to handstand with no support. Okay, once the gymnast has been able to stabilise their handstand on the end of the P-bars, and they can consistently do that, we then move the gymnast to the middle of the P-bars where they can achieve the swing to handstand unsupported. Thanks for watching the video tutorial today on swings to handstand on P-bars. Please take away the preps. As always, use them safely in your gyms and enjoy teaching swings to handstand.